Greetings and welcome to another Final Fantasy Final Fantasy 14 video. It is finally time for the final DPS class, the Dancer. And for the latest class to be added into the game, it's okay. Unfortunately, it suffers from the same thing that the Bard does, in that it has a lot of relies on RNG in order to basically do maximum damage. So, let us explain. So, our basic weapon skill combos are as follows. For single target, we only have two skills. That is Cascade into Fountain. That's it. There is no third step, there is nothing else. For AoE, we have Windmill into Blade Shower. And that is it, there's nothing else. However, you will notice that each one of these attacks has an additional effect. 50% chance of granting Flourishing Cascade for 20 seconds. Each one has its own unique Flourishing, whatever it's called. Flourishing Windmill, Flourishing Blade Shower, whatever. Now, those little procs allow us to use their stronger versions. So as you can see, Reverse Cascade, Fountain Fall, Rising Windmill, and Blood Shower. Now, unfortunately, as you can see right there, additional effect, 50% chance of granting a Fourfold Feather. So, what does that mean? Well, Fourfold Feathers are these over here, these little 4 pips that we have over here. Now, those little 4 pips allow us to use either Fan Dance or Fan Dance 2. And then additional effect on these is 50% chance of granting Flourishing Fan Dance, which lets us use Fan Dance 3. So as you can see, it is an RNG to get to this to proc, an RNG to get this to proc, and an RNG to get this to proc. So unfortunately, it is, from my experience, either Feast or Famine with the Dancer. You either get all the procs very quickly, or you don't get a single proc for a very long time, which really sucks because you need those procs. Now let's talk about a damage rotation here, because there is something very different about the Dancer than any other class when it comes to AoE. So for single target, we already know that it's Cascade into Fountain, and then use any other single target ones that come up off cooldown. However, I want you to notice something. You'll notice that the damage of Cascade here is 250, and then a Fountain is 300 when in combo. Now, what about the damage of our AoE abilities? As you can see, it's 150 and 200. So let me tell you why that's important. So normally on any other class, a single target skill of the same weapon skill rank, so step 1, step 2, and step 3, will have more than double the potency of an AoE one. However, as you can see, Windmill has 150, and Cascade has 250. That means if Windmill hits 2 or more targets, it is dealing 300 or more potency, whereas this only does 250. So as you can see, and then Fountain, the exact same thing, 300 versus an extra 400 when hitting 2 or more targets. So as you can see, the Dancer is the only class in the game that whenever there is more than one target, and they can hit more than one target, they're going to be using their AoE rotation. And that makes a little bit different. But now let's take a look at these. Actually, the same thing applies to the Flourishing maneuvers. As you can see, Flourishing is 300. And Rising Windmill is 300, and Blood Shower is, 350? And Fountain Fall is 350. So as you can see, these two, Blood Shower and Fountain Fall, are the strongest abilities, oddly enough. Not counting Saber Dance, which we'll get to in a minute. Now, however, you need to read carefully. As you can see, there is an attack to all nearby enemies with a potency of 350 for the first and 50% for the less. That means it's 350 and 125 for everybody else. So if you're hitting 2 targets, it is 475 potency. That is way more than you're getting off of this one. More than double, actually. So the same thing applies. If you can hit 2 or more targets, use these. However, as you can see, they deal a very strong amount of damage to the very first target they hit. So if these are procced and there's only 1 target left, make sure to use them. Not only because they deal good damage, because they also have a chance of granting you the feather over here, so we can use Fan Dance, and then that into Fan Dance 3. Now, let's talk about dancing, because that's kind of what we're here to do, supposedly. So anyway, as you can see, standard step. This gets us in dancing mode, as you can see there. And then we need to complete a simple 2-step dance, depending on whatever lights up, and then we can do that. Now, let us go into the powers, so we can actually get a good read on that. So, standard finish, as you can see there. There is an attack to all enemies that actually it reaches, and let's see, it is 15 yards. It's actually quite a large radius, so be careful when using that before a boss. Dealing full potency to the first enemy and 75% less for all remaining enemies. Now, as you can see, the damage, as you can see, varies from 0, 1, and 2 steps, between 500, 750, and 1000. However, the important part is that once you finish it, you and your dance partner that you designated with close position, you definitely want this to be somebody that uses weapon skills, also get a damage buff for approximately 60 seconds. So 5% extra damage just because? Definitely nice. Now let's talk about the advanced or technical step. It is essentially the exact same thing, only it lasts 20 seconds instead of the 60. It has a quite a long cooldown. Let's see, where is technical step? There it is, 2-minute cooldown. But it deals boatloads of damage, as you can see, 1,500 compared to the 1,000 there. And the exact same thing, 4 damage to the first one, 75% less to the rest. And yeah, so what is the combo here? Well, we're not done. Then we have Devilman. We get this at 62. Now, before level 62, it's going to be very difficult to actually have any type of burst when needed. That's because Devilment is our Devilment and Technical Step are really our only ways of buffing ourselves up for a burst phase. As you can see, their addition is actually very powerful. Increases critical hit rate and direct hit rate by 20%. So yeah, extremely powerful 2-minute cooldown. Unfortunately, same as Technical Step. So you can kind of get an idea. So whenever you use Technical Step first, and then go into Devilment, and then do your burst, which we are going to talk about later. Now let's talk about the other abilities that we have at our disposal. Well, we've got Flourish. This just flat out lets you use every single Flourish ability that you have once. That's what it does. But it's up every 60 seconds, so you want to use this on cooldown. So the first time you're going to use this is first Technical Step, Devilment, and then Flourish, and then you begin your combo, your burst phase. Then the second time you use it by itself, and then repeat. Now, what other thing do we have? We have Invent. This is basically a 10-yard dash forward. It can save your life. It's got 3 charges. Very cool. Then this is our level 80 skill, Improvisation. This is exactly the exact same skill, or at least similar in utility, as the Samurais and the Monks. What is the Samurai's ability? I don't remember, but basically, in a sense, if you cannot hit the boss but you're still stuck in combat, you use this to fill out your little Esprit Bodge over here, and that lets us use Saber Dance that costs 50 Esprit, and Saber Dance is definitely by far our most powerful hitting ability. Healing for 600, and then 50% less for everything else around the target, which is only 5 yards, but hey, something is something. Let's see, are we missing something? Yes, let's see. We are also missing Curing Waltz. The curing potency is actually very, very small when you're talking about max level HP. Let's see, right now, what are we going to get healed for? 6,000. So not even 10% of our HP. Now, what's important about that is that, as you can see, the HP, your own HP and the HP of all nearby party members. Party member designated as your dance partner will also heal self and nearby party members. So, you know those giant burst phases during boss fights where you need to gather up and put up all your shields? Yeah, well, if you get together, that's a total potency of 600 that heals everybody around you. So now it's starting actually to be useful. Now, what else do we have? Well, we have Shield Samba. As you can see, this is the exact same ability as the Bard's Troubadour and the Machinist Tactician. Reduces damage taken by 10%. So if you, and it's got a 2-minute cooldown, duration 15 seconds. So you would need an entire party of ranged attackers to keep that up at all times. But hey, at least there's something to help people survive. Then we got Close Position. This is basically how you designate somebody else as your dance partner, and they gain the benefits of Technical Step, Technical Finish, and I believe, oh yeah, and your partner also gets the effect as Devilment, so yeah, very nice. And as well this. And I believe those are all the abilities the dancer has, which really they're not that many. It starts at level 60, so very few abilities to speak of. Now let's talk about the actual burst. So let's say we have the target here, and the boss here, and we're about to go in and start the fight. Well, our first job is to make sure we have our first buff going on. So that's ready. And then right before the boss pulls, we are going to use Technical Step, but not finish it because we actually want to hit the boss with it. And then we're going to hit Devilment, and then we're going to hit Flourish. Now at this point, we are not going to have any feathers here. So we're not going to be able to spam Fan Dance into Fan Dance 3 along with it, which kind of sucks, but that's just how the dancer goes. Now, once we are actually trigger our Flourish, what we're going to do is we're going to start with Fan Dance 3 because it's powerful. Then we're going to go into Fan Dance, in normal Fan Dance, because it has the chance of proccing this one. And then we're going to start with Blood Shower, into Fountain Fall, into Rising Windmill, into Reverse Cascade. So basically it's Blood Shower and Fountain Fall, and then Windmill and Cascade, in that order. Now, because these are Fan Dance is an ability, you can cast 2 in between each of the weapon skills that we have. So start with Fan Dance 3, start with one of the weapon skills here, then during the global cooldown, use Fan Dance. If this thing procs, use it. If it doesn't, use Fan Dance again. Next weapon skill, and rinse and repeat. So let us show you, Sawi, how it goes without triggering the very long cooldown on that thing. So, oh well, too late. Okay, well, let's take a look. So we are ready to start the boss, and there's the damage. Trigger that into Fan Dance. I actually did not hit anybody. There's the other one. There's the proc. There's another proc. Good lucky us. And that's it, unfortunately. And at this point, we are literally going to keep using our standard weapon skill combos and making sure we use any that proc, any other flourished abilities that we have to proc, in order to try and get our little feathers that we need. Okay, there's one feather. There's our second feather. Okay, pretty lucky there. So as you can see, this is what I mean that I don't like the way the Dancer works, that is extremely reliant on RNG. There we go, now we're ready. Okay. So we have all of our feathers, but we are still waiting on the cooldowns to come back. 7 seconds left. What about in this situation where we have 4 feathers and we have a proc? Well, we're going to use 1 Fan Dance, and then we're going to use whatever flourishing ability we have that's procced it, so that we don't waste a possible charge. Now, starting our combo with 3 feathers is fine, 4 is optimal, but just use it whenever it comes off cooldown. So here we go. One more time with Flourish. So and we're out of feathers. There's another one. Ooh, another proc. Very nice. And that's it. So that is basically the standard burst rotation that we have every minute as a Dancer, unfortunately. And that really is about it for the Dancer when you speak about it. So now all we gotta do is rebuild our feathers, wait for Technical Step to come off cooldown, and wait for Flourish to come off cooldown. Now, because I didn't do everything exactly in the timing that was required, Flourish is not available for right now for use with Technical Step and Devilment. So right now, we're just going to keep trying to build up our feathers until it comes off cooldown. It's not that long anymore. And regardless of whether you have maximum feathers or not, as soon as your abilities come off cooldown, you go into a burst phase, regardless of how many feathers you have. So here we go. So let's go into a normal dance. From here into Technical Step. From there, into Devilment, into Flourish, into the Fan Dance. There we go. There, very nice. We got a proc there. Another proc there. Another proc there. Very nice. And a proc there. And a proc there. Very good. Okay, we have a chance for one more feather. We did not get the feather, unfortunately. Oh well. And that is how the burst rotation of the Dancer goes. You use any flourishing ability you have, as long as you don't go over feathers. And make sure you use Fan Dance 3 before you use Fan Dance or Fan Dance 2. Always, because you don't want to waste any of them. Now, Saber Dance, as you can see, is a weapon skill. And if we can use it, we are going to use that in place of anything else. Now, as you can see, we are filling up the Esprit guys right here. And Esprit is filled up whenever you or your dance partner, while under the effect of a standard or technical finish, uses a weapon skill. This is why, with close position, you want to make sure you target somebody that is at a physical DPS so that they use weapon skills and help you throw up the bar. Let's see, can we fill it up a little bit more? We got a feather, at least. Come on, one more. Okay, so that's about to come off cooldown. So let's just use that. There we go, we got 4 feathers. Let's get ready for burst. Standard finish. Let's wait for technical finish to come off cooldown. 3, 2, 1. Now you don't want to use. There we go. And now into technical finish. Into Devilment, into Flourish. Here we go. Into Fan Dance, Saber Dance. So as you can see, when things align properly and you get your procs and you're in range, you can deal a lot of damage very quickly, especially with the completely overpowered little Devilment buff that we have. Now, let's talk about AoE rotation, because literally it is 2 more buttons, just like the individual one. Instead of going with these, we're going to go with these. So, there we go. And there we go. We got 1 feather, that's very nice. Still only 1 feather. So as you can see, we are not getting any. There it is, just as I say it. There's a feather. Okay, now we're going to go into a AoE Flourish here. There we go, and 1 more. There we go. And we're set. And that was our AoE rotation, well, AoE burst phase. So as you can see, Fan Dance is actually targeted on an enemy and it's launched in their direction and only hits everything around them. This one, to all nearby enemies, and this is to all nearby enemies as well. So you need to be within melee range in order to actually deal maximum damage with our AoE rotation. And that's pretty much it. So as you can see, as the dancer, the rotation is very, very simple. The burst phase is very, very simple. Regardless of how many feathers you dance, as soon as your buffs come off cooldown, you use them and you go into a burst phase, because even if you don't have enough feathers, your partner would most definitely be able to do maximum damage. Now, if you can synchronize your little burst phase with somebody else's, like say a ninja's exposed weakness, or a dragoon's battle litany, or something around those lines, then your burst is going to be even stronger there. So, who should we designate as our partner with our close position? Well, we want somebody that uses as many weapon skills as possible, and in my experience, that is probably the samurai or a monk, one of those two. The reason not a ninja is because ninjas spend a lot of time casting ninjutsu, and those are abilities, and they also have assassination and dream within a dream. Those are also abilities, not weapon skills. Meanwhile, a monk and a samurai have their weapon skill rotation that's part of their core rotation in order to do maximum damage, so they are the optimal targets for close position. And really, that's about all we can say about the dancer. Really, very simple class, very basic, RNG reliant. Can be fun if you get all your feathers and are prepared to do everything on time once it procs, but other than that, it's actually very simple. It's a shame that it takes all the way up to level 60 to unlock, because it would probably be a very new player friendly class. So anyway, thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.